Please, don't do this. We can fix this, Lamisi, I promise. Just calm down. Kunle's voice cracked as he stretched out his trembling hands, each word weighed with desperation. Lamisi stood on the edge of the rooftop, hair eyes hollow, body swaying slightly in the wind, clutched against her chest. Their infant wailed, but she didn't seem to hear. Neighbors gathered below, pointing, whispering, while Kunle's heart thundered in his chest. How did it come to this? How had he missed all the signs? He had known she was struggling, that much was clear. But this? The woman he loved, now a shadow on a ledge. 3 weeks earlier. Lami, what you're feeling is nothing special. Do you remember Mama Abiku? Her mother asked. You mean the one who lives at the main junction? Lamisi replied, a bit confused. No, that's the one with the daughter who was arrested for armed robbery, her mother said with a dismissive wave. I'm talking about the daughter of Mama Abiku with the blue gate, the only one out of her useless children who actually went to school. She calls it baby bruises or something. Blues, Mama, Lamisi corrected half-heartedly. Oh, whatever you people call it nowadays, her mother huffed. Back when I had you, I only rested for 1 day before heading to the farm. But look at you, so lucky, living in this grand house with air conditioning while your husband provides for you. Lami, you have to be strong. You're the daughter of the one and only Mama G. I didn't raise a weakling. Stop this nonsense. You're disgracing me, Abba, Lamisi's mother said, waving her hand dismissively as she cut vegetables when Lamisi tried to share how she had been feeling since having her baby with her. That night, Lamisi stood in her baby's nursery and stared at her newborn baby, a tiny life swaddled in soft blankets. She knew she was supposed to feel joy. Everyone around her said so. Her husband, Kunle, beamed with pride. Her mother kept saying how lucky she was. But Lamisi felt nothing, not the overwhelming love or the pride she had expected. Instead, an odd numbness settled in her chest and she couldn't shake it. It's just exhaustion, she told herself, echoing the words everyone else said. One night, Lamisi finally decided to confide in Kunle. Babe, I think something's wrong with me, she said, her voice barely audible. Kunle looked up from his phone, concern finally crossing his face. What do you mean? He asked. Lamisi explained her feelings, but as she spoke, she noticed Kunle's expression shift from concern to discomfort. Easy, it's just the stress. All new moms go through this, Kunle said, standing up and walking over to her. He put his hand on her shoulder, but once again, her pain had been dismissed. As time went by, Kunle, who had once been attentive and full of affection, now seemed irritated by Lamisi's distant behavior. You're so different now, he muttered one evening when she had forgotten to make his dinner ready. His eyes darted to the baby, who was babbling happily in her high chair, and then back to Lamisi, whose expression remained blank. I'm tired, Kunle, she whispered, a hint of desperation in her voice. But Kunle only sighed, brushing her off. We're all tired, Lamisi. You think I'm not exhausted working all day and coming home to this? I'm putting in long hours to support this family, and I come home to a wife who doesn't even look happy to see me. Is this what I work so hard for? Issy, I miss the woman I married, someone who actually cared about looking good. Now you're just... I don't even recognize you. And look at your nails. You know I like them painted red. Kunle, I need you to hear me. I don't know what's happening to me, but I feel lost, Lamisi said, her voice trembling. Kunle glanced at her, annoyance flashing in his eyes. Lamisi, everyone feels that way after having a baby. You're not special. You need to stop being so dramatic. You have everything you wanted. A healthy baby and a nice home. What could you possibly be so sad about? I'm trying my best to be supportive, but Easy, your attitude is just It's choking me. I can't keep coming home to this. Lamisi felt a pang of guilt, but also a simmering frustration. She longed to scream, to make him see that this wasn't just tiredness or moodiness. Something deeper was unraveling inside her. Days later, Lamisi's heart sank as she heard the loud, familiar voice at the front door. Kunle's mother, known for her sharp tongue and unyielding beliefs, had come to visit. As she stepped inside, her gaze swept over Lamisi, eyes narrowing. Ah, Lamisi, why do you look so pale and skinny? And look at how you are dressed. You must be lazy if even motherhood is too much for you, she scoffed, setting down her woven basket. Lamisi forced a smile, masking the tremor in her hands. The visit felt like an inquisition. Kunle's mother spoke animatedly, recounting stories of how she birthed and raised her 20 children with ease, adding pointedly, "No one in our family ever behaved like this after giving birth. You should be grateful and full of life, not moping around like a shadow." The word stung, each syllable digging into the wound already festering inside Lamisi. When she didn't respond, Kunle's mother's tone sharpened. Or could it be something darker? Some spirit that holds you back? You are behaving like one touched by witchcraft, Lamisi. Lamisi's face flushed with humiliation, and her chest tightened as she struggled to breathe. Kunle, who had been standing at the doorway, shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. Lamisi looked at him, hoping for a defense that never came. The days following the visit were suffused with tension. Kunle's mother's harsh words echoed in Lamisi's mind. One night, unable to take it anymore, as the city lights flickered outside their window, Lamisi found herself at the edge of the rooftop, baby in her arms, staring down at the world that refused to understand. Kunle rushed to the rooftop, heart pounding as he spotted Lamisi swaying near the ledge, their infant clutched against her chest. "Lamisi, please don't!" he shouted, voice cracking with desperation. The sound jolted her, and she turned, eyes hollow and glistening with tears. The baby let out a wail, but Lamisi's gaze remained distant, as though she were somewhere far away. Kunle's voice trembled. "Lamisi, calm down. We can get through this. I know I haven't understood, but I see it now. I'm sorry." He stepped forward, inching closer, hands stretched out. The weight of his words wavered between them, fragile as glass. Neighbors gathered below, some gasping, others murmuring, creating a buzz that only added to the tension. Lamisi's eyes darted from Kunle to the crowd below, her breath ragged. "Why now, Kunle?" she whispered. "Why do you only see me now, when I'm already so far gone?" Kunle's face fell, guilt etched into his features. He glanced at the baby, who blinked up with wide, innocent eyes. The sight cracked something inside Lamisi, a small sliver of light fighting its way through the darkness. Suddenly, the rooftop door burst open, and Kunle's mother stormed in, eyes wide with shock. "What foolishness is this?" she spat. "My son has brought home a witch. Ooh! My enemies have succeeded," she cried out, raising her hands to the heavens as if pleading for divine intervention. "This Jezebel has come to finish us all," she added, wailing dramatically. Though her eyes remained dry, lacking a single tear, the accusation snapped something inside Lamisi. She looked at Kunle's mother, then at Kunle, the frustration and betrayal swelling together. "No more!" Lamisi screamed, the words raw and ragged, cutting through the night air. For the first time, her voice was louder than her pain, louder than the whispers. The sound startled everyone, even herself. The baby quieted, sensing the shift. "Enough! Mama, this ends now. I need you to leave my house immediately and don't come back until you learn to respect my wife," Kunle commanded, his voice firm and unyielding. His mother stood in shock, stepping back as if moving on autopilot. Kunle, returning his attention to Lamisi, stepped closer, voice softer now and sincere. "Isi, please. We can find help. We need to find help. For you, for us. Tears pooled in his eyes, genuine and unfiltered. The vulnerability in his expression reached her, cracking the fortress of silence she had built. Lamisi's legs gave way, and she fell to her knees, sobs racking her body. Kunle rushed forward, cradling both her and the baby, while Kunle's mother stood frozen, the sharpness in her eyes melting into confusion. For the first time, Lamisi allowed herself to be completely vulnerable, to feel the exhaustion, the despair, and the tiniest glimmer of relief. The silence had been broken, but the journey was just beginning. Days turned into a blur as Lamisi slowly emerged from the fog that had clouded her mind. Though Lamisi was worried about the stigma attached to seeing a therapist, with Kunle's encouragement, she reluctantly agreed to see a therapist, someone who could help her untangle the knot of emotions that had left her feeling trapped. Kunle held her hand tightly as they entered the small, warm office filled with soft colors and calming scents. Lamisi felt a mix of anxiety and hope. Could this be the turning point she desperately needed? As she sat down, the therapist, Dr. Forger, greeted her with a gentle smile. Lamisi, you're not alone in this. Many women experience what you're feeling, and it's okay to seek help. Lamisi nodded, a small part of her still hesitant to believe that her struggles could be understood or validated. But as the session progressed, she found herself opening up. I thought I was supposed to feel joy, Lamisi confessed, tears welling in her eyes. Instead, I felt lost and unworthy. Dr. Forger listened intently, nodding with empathy. It's important to recognize that postpartum depression is a real and serious condition. You're not failing as a mother, you're navigating a significant life change without the support you deserve. Those words struck a chord deep within Lamisi, and she felt a shift begin, tiny but significant, like a seed breaking through the soil. As weeks passed, Lamisi began to attend regular therapy sessions, slowly peeling back the layers of her emotional turmoil. Kunle became her unwavering support, attending sessions with her and learning how to be present in a way he hadn't understood before. I had no idea how hard it could be for you, Lamisi. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner, he confessed one evening as they walked hand in hand through the park. One day, while sitting in the nursery, Lamisi looked down at her baby, now cooing and reaching for her. A wave of love washed over her, warming her heart. I'm going to be okay, she whispered, the words a promise to herself. She began to engage with her baby, enjoying the little moments that had once felt impossible. The laughter echoed through their home, a sound that had been absent for too long. The lesson learned is that postpartum depression is a serious mental health condition that requires understanding, support, and treatment. It's a reminder that new mothers need compassion, not judgment, and that mental health struggles can affect anyone, no matter how strong they seem. Ignoring or dismissing these signs can lead to devastating consequences, but with timely intervention and empathy from loved ones, healing and recovery are possible. Hi fam, hope you enjoyed this story. Share your experiences in the comments. We love hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of your favorite African folk tales. Until next time, it's bye from us at Apenthene African Stories.